So I have this very large, this guy's full up there of these girls that came out today. And they're just navigating by the thousands. And sorry, I got right in their way. I can't see down there when you're in the way. So I've got, so you can see kind of how it looks right here. Just picture that going out into the sky by the thousands. They've been doing this all day. Well, not all day. Probably since probably about 1:30. So what is it? About 4ish now. So they've been doing this for hours. I thought, man, that is one of the largest navigational swarming I think I've ever seen. At least one of them. And so what happens? I was sitting in my chair over there. Oh, by the way, my name is Jim. And if you subscribe, ring the bell, do a thumb up on me, you can leave a comment. I can most likely give you the correct answer. I do a lot of research, scientific research on lots of things. And so I know how to find the correct answer. It's like, when we used to go to the library to find the answer to things, and I would spend hours in the library, especially when I was a kid, because I was a curious kid, and I wanted to know. I'd hear a bunch of stories, and I go, I've heard 3 different opinions on that one thing, so I would take my butt to the library, and I would research that, whatever that is, and there was many. And I'd go, But I also learned that I had to be careful who I told the most empirical evidence to, because sometimes once we get locked into what we heard, we convince ourselves that it's true, even though it's not. That it can create a negative environment. And I was a kid, so I tried to avoid that. I just went along with what I know to be empirically true. Most intellectually empirical with the evidence to support it. People who have masters in the field and all that. So these girls here, so I'm sitting here. I like to sit right here when they're doing these big swarms, because I wear this to help the sun. I spend so much time outside, and so many sunburns, and all the sunspots, and it's catching up. So I wear this to shade. Anyway, so it's like this. So you just picture this and just go out like that, up into the sky. Except you're going up about, 30 feet, like this. But a little more dispersed, but you know what I mean. And so I just wanted to share this massive navigational swarm. That's all these girls are new. Now they've been swarming every day, navigational swarming every day, but now and then, once or twice a week, it's like really big. But this is the biggest one I've seen. It was actually bigger than this earlier. I had to take off the front. They were all balled up in the front. I had a pretty good gap. That gap wasn't big enough, and so I took off the extra strip over there and just allow them more space to come in and out, because I've got the navigationers, and I also have girls coming in with nectar and pollen, and they were fighting to get in. I had a strip about that much open, and I left it open overnight, and that wasn't big enough. So along with the girls that are coming out seeing the world for the first time, which is probably more than 90% of these that you see here, these are first timers into the world. They're getting their first suntan, first radiation exposure, and they're just trying to figure out where to come back home to. Now, I'd never recommend doing this with a hive that's been agitated. I monitor activities most days to see if there's predators or something trying to get into the hive that's going to irritate them and put them in a defensive mode, which will release those danger pheromones that makes them all excited and want to, maybe attack. And so far this year, I've only had one girl. She was really on me. I was sitting here and I'd do my, create my bubble, and she would go away for about 5 minutes, then she'd be back. I was pretty sure it was the same girl. And because it just seemed like that one. And I had to do this, create this bubble. She kept trying to get behind me, and I just kept my bubble going, and she'd go away for 5 minutes, sometimes 10 minutes, and she'd be back. So in 30 minutes, I think she came back like 3 or 4 times. Probably about 5-7 minute intervals on average. I'm pretty sure it was the same girl. But I didn't have a color dot on her. I would have known for sure, right? Of course, I'm guessing. But I'm just going with my instincts. That's all we've got anyway as human beings. And I got a big fanner out there. Boy, she's going at it. So I'm trying to get them now, the fanners, to shuffle over there and get out of the way of the entry. Typically, though, once I remove that other side over there, the fanners will slowly move over there out of the trajectory of the in and out going. They haven't gotten the message yet. Hey, do you need a memo? And she's just sitting there going to town, having all these bees bumping into her. I got some that are starting to collect over on the right. I just opened it up a little while ago. And so they're already starting to collect over, the fanners are starting to collect over on the other side. I just wanted to share this. It was so massive. It was like, I don't know if they get bigger than that, because, that typically she will lay up to 3,000 eggs a day in 21 days. They hatch, and then they do the nursing, and maybe they'll do some other stuff, clean house, do some comb, or build some comb or something. And then after about 7 days or so, give or take, they'll come out and forage for the first time. So these girls here, they're pushing a month old, 28 days, probably right around in there, give or take a couple, proximity. And so these girls are almost a month old, and they're coming out to get a lay of the land so they can find their way home without tapping their heels. No place like home. And so I noticed about 3-4 days ago when I checked the panel, I had probably about 5 or 6 varroa mites, but they looked different. Like a different variant. There's 18 different variations of varroa mites, and so they were, and so they, you can get different, kind of like canines. You got your Chihuahuas, and all the other ones all the way up, to Great Danes and all the in between. And you can get those variations. You get those variations with varroa mites as well, just like you got with bees. You've got Italian, Cornola, Russian, and on and on and on. There's lots of different variations of the same species, and they can have different traits, varying traits. And that's the same thing with varroa mites. They have different variations of the same species. Some are more destructive to beehives than others. And so when I saw the varroa mites in there, they looked different. They're like really dark, instead of the ones that were kind of round, oblong. These were like, some were really narrow, some were really fat. So when my bees were going out, getting all those flowers, there was other animals, bees, and different kinds of, even wild bees. They were bouncing these varroa mites, because varroa mites can jump. They jump. And so I'm thinking that those varroa mites, my instincts were saying that the ones that I saw on my panel about 4 or 5 days ago, whatever it was, those were new. bromides that came in, my bees, did the grooming thing, knocked them off, and then I saw them on my panel. There was like different variations of them, which I had not seen before. But when I had been doing my bromide inspection all fall and winter, I always seen the same variation of bromide. They all look the same. Some a little lighter than others. Some white all the way to medium tan, like a light tan. These ones were different. They're like they've been out in the sun. They had a dark brown. And so I think they came from outside. So there they go. I don't know if you can see them over there. There's the fanners starting to build up out of the busy two-way street there. I'm starting to get a big pile of fanners. So they've shifted now from over here out of away from the highway. Now they're on the side of the road over there. I'm not sure if you can see them over there, but maybe I'll twist you a little bit. Sorry girls, I'm going to be in your way for a moment. Twist you a little bit so you can see all the fanners over there. So there they are. Yeah, I hear you. So there's all the fanners, how they've collected. There was none over there. And it took up to 5 minutes to get that many. So there was a bunch of fanners here when I started this recording. And so now, you can see how they're over there fanning, so they've got out of the way of the highway. It's like, this feels so nice to be out of the two-way street. And so, yeah, they're really collected over there pretty good over there, the fanners. Yeah, there must be a dozen of them over there now when before there was none. Once I took off that strip over there. It's like they just changed sides. We'll fan over here, and you guys just come in and out over here. And that's pretty neat. I like to watch the intricacies of those types of bee behavior. And I watch for a lot of other type of bee behavior. There's one doing a dance there. She found something. Look at everybody. I found something. Look at me. She's doing a little dance right there. Dancing. Do you need a little ball? One of those little light balls? She was dancing. I just like watching that stuff. I find it enjoyable. It's soothing for me. Did you want this out? How's that? There you go. Free reign. That whole strip is now open. I like to close it down at the evening. Oh, there's one chowing down on a piece of cone. Boy, she's going at that piece of cone. She didn't know what to do with it either. Yeah. So when they make their combs, they don't reuse the old pieces. They'll leave certain pieces, and they'll build from that. But if something's not the form that they want, they'll chew it off, and it'll just drop to the bottom. And they won't take it apart to redo it because it doesn't have the pliability. So they have like 8 sections underneath their abdomen that open up, and they draw that pliable comb. It's pliable, it's liquidy like, and that's what they use to build the comb. But once it hardens, there's nothing they can do. There's nothing they're going to do with it. They're not going to dismantle it and make more comb out of it. They'll leave existing comb to reform it. There's like, I'll cut it here, kick a piece out of here, and then I'll rebuild from there. But they won't take old comb, break it back down, and then use it. They don't have the mandibles for that hardened kind of comb to put the moisture back in there and make it so that they can reuse it. Yeah, there's a lot of girls over there fanning out, bringing out some old comb, seeing what pieces they can get off of it, I guess. So, please subscribe, thumbs up, ring the bell. And there were so many. I just had to share this. It was, gosh, I mean, I'm just throwing a number out there, but what it looked like from where I was doing something in the front, and I noticed all the activity, and I thought, huh. And I came back here, and there's like a block. It's like, and then there's this, all of a sudden this strong wind would come all of a sudden. It was like this big old block of bees, and it would just go right into the wind would take them right into the bushes down there and onto the ground. And then once the strong current would back away, the buzz right back here is, it was kind of interesting to watch. Excuse me. And yeah, none of them buzzing me today. So far this year, it was only that one bee. It was just one bee. She'd never seen my face, and the hive was probably agitated by something, wasps or marauders. Marauders come every day. Every day I see marauders. When I just come here, I'm going to take my break. I'm doing stuff. I come and sit in my little cushiony chair over here, right behind the phone here, and I sit down there with. I usually notice them right away. I go, oh, there they are, and they're bouncing around up. They're not down here. I watch them bounce around on the outside of the hive, bounce around. They come and they'll buzz this entrance, but they don't land. They don't land. I watch them. They'll come back out, and then they'll buzz it outside again, looking, probing for holes, looking for another entrance. Besides this one that's well occupied. Yeah, and that's going to happen. If there's any beehives in your neighborhood, it's always going to be that way. Bees have a natural instinct to raid other hives. Right? Quick, easy food. But what are you bringing? That girl brought in a stick. I just saw this girl come in. She had what looked like a stick in her mouth, and she carried it in the hive. Maybe someone's getting out of line. A switch stick. Doubt that, right? Yeah. Look at all those fanners over there. Yeah, those fanners, they're on the outside, but they're also on the inside. So you got some on the inside that's forcing that air from the inside to the bees that are behind on the outside here, and they're playing tag with the wind current. Air tag. Yeah, so as long as I keep that area blocked off, except for when I see the fanners, once I take that little blocked off area out, that little stick out, and there's fanners up here, every single time, all the fanners go over there, every single one of them. None of them stay over here in the in the two-way highway lane. None of them. Well, this one is. She's up top. She's out of the way of the actual in and out. She's posted herself above the activity in and out. Interesting. She probably hasn't walked over that direction, or she hasn't been bumped enough. She gets bumped enough, she'll walk around and she'll go, oh, looks greener over there on the other side. If I was to like tap her, take a stick or something, just keep tapping her and tapping her and tapping her, just kind of nudging her and nudging her and nudging her just a little bit. She'd keep scooting until eventually she would end up over there. Yeah. She'd just get tired of being bumped while she's trying to do her job. Anyway, gosh, there were so many. It was just crazy how many there were. It's like she only lays a maximum of 3,000 a day, and for 3 hours or so, they were navigationally swarming like that for 3 hours. Because it can take them for one bee. So one bee comes out, she starts her navigational process for the first time. It can take her about 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes to where she feels comfortable that she's taken enough snapshots of everything around in this area, plus going up in the sky, looking at the house, looking at the trees. It's like taking this little photo album that she builds up in her head. and all my bushes and my chair and my face. Yeah, that's right. And when she feels comfortable, she'll take one more dodge down to the hive, verify everything out there with it right here in this direction, and off she goes to get some pollen and nectar to feed the babies. And the queen, give her some royal jelly. The royal queen always needs royal jelly. Yep, and then they give the royal jelly to every single egg, and that gives the egg literally absorbs that. Too, I forgot what that was called. And man, this is a gentle hive. Crazy, huh? Bunch of fans. That's going on the inside. So they got bees on the inside, pushing the air to the ones on the outside. That's a pretty good system. Oh, found a dead larvae. So it's natural for larvae to die in the cell now and then. Sometimes they abort, the cells start to duplicate in a bad way. Wouldn't be a good idea to have all of a sudden something the size of T-Rex hatch out in relationship to their size, you know what I mean. And yeah, they're messing with this dead larvae. Let's not get that out of there. Oh, she's saying, what are you taking my toy? She was going after the tip of my stick like, what? Because when they come out, when they get to a certain stage, they are extremely curious. It's kind of like that little puppy that you get. They're explorers, right? And that's really important for them to get out there and test everything. They test the flowers, the trees, the bark, the dirt. They explore everything. I almost stepped on a couple of them the other day. They're on the ground. There was some moss. And they're in that moss getting some minerals or something, or it could be moisture, could be all the above. Wouldn't doubt if it was all the above, because there are certain salts. So every living organism needs salt, and when it dies, the salt that it consumes stays there. And so when you've got this fungus stuff growing, it's dying and regrowing, and it's got all this water mixed in there is going to be some salt. So the bees need salt. They'll go find it. They can find it in the soil. They can find it from dead matter. They need salt and other things, calcium. They need everything that we need mostly. That most living organisms need, multicellular organisms need. So every multicellular organism needs a certain arrangement and quantity of things from the periodic table. And so, yeah. Anyway, subscribe, thumbs up, ring the bell. You have a wonderful life. And if I said something that piqued your interest, open up your library. Investigate it for yourself. You don't have to go and sit there and tell that librarian to tell you to hush because you're getting all excited about something you just learned, like, oh, I can't believe that's the truth, and all those things that I was told were false. Wonder they had 5 different stories for the same thing, because they were all wrong. I discovered that a lot when I was a child. I used to hang out at that library all the time. I just always felt like I was getting false information because I would get so many different opinions on the same thing. So I decided to research everything myself, and that's what I do today. Do not go with hearsay, because that is not my way. I go with the highest level of empirical reproducible evidence that's available to humanity, and that's where I focus on. But at the same time, I'm always willing to change my mind. If there's a new study that comes out, that's a better study. The way that they study it is a new process of studying something different, something that I've always known or felt that it was true. It's not that I feel things are true. What I do is I accept them for the moment. I'll accept this because that's the highest level of empirical information we have about that particular thing at the moment. So I'm going to go with that, but I always stay ready like that to change my mind. I don't lock myself into a position. as if I'm in some sort of Borg cage. I'm not a Borg. I reprogram myself when I see it's necessary, and I'll delete the old information like a split second. Once I am convinced enough that this new thing is more believable than the old thing. That's just me. Sigmas, I think we're all that way. All right. Bye now.